Forming bracket!
What's going on, everyone? So welcome to my latest video. This is my review for the film Amistad, which is a 1997 film, turns 25 this year, which gives me a pretty darn good excuse to finally sit down and review this film for you guys. Now, truth be told, the other 1997 films that I reviewed this year, those were all planned. This one wasn't, to be honest. I had just been itching to want to revisit Amistad because I saw it for the first time like well over a decade ago, and I just had been having that itch, and so I decided to finally rewatch it. And I was like, oh yeah, it's a 1997 film, so I can review it. But then I was like, wait a minute, did the release date, did it already come out, in terms of like, oh, did it possibly come out like September and I missed it? And it's like, no, it actually came out apparently on Christmas in 1997. So I'm reviewing this perfectly in time for that. But yeah, this was a film that when it came out 25 years ago, it got nominated for 4 Oscars. It's a Steven Spielberg film, so pretty big deal back in the day, because Steven Spielberg obviously at that time had done like Schindler's List, Jurassic Park, the Indiana Jones movies. It was pre Saving Private Ryan, like literally right before Saving Private Ryan came out. But this is a film that it's a history, political courtroom drama. And for those of you who don't know the premise, it takes place in 1839, and it's about the revolt of mented captives on board a Spanish-owned ship, which causes a controversy in the United States when the ship is captured off the coast of Long Island. So it's interesting because it's dealing with the politics of the day, and it's interesting how the politics of the day can kind of be seen in the view of 1997 lens, directed by Steven Spielberg, but also 25 years later, it's aged really well, and it just kind of shows that the themes of this film are very timeless. And it's acted very well, too. I mean, my goodness. One of the main things that I remembered about this film, even though I saw it 10 plus years ago, was Anthony Hopkins' performance. I'll never forget watching this and just being blown away by his, courtroom speech. And honestly, a second time around, it was even better. The monologue that he gives is just so powerful. It's really great. He plays John Quincy Adams, and just the accent he has, the way he has that vernacular in terms of like, being able to deliver the dialogue. It's great stuff. He is one of the best actors working today. Matthew McConaughey is also in this film. This is before The Reconnaissance, and it's also, I think, right before he did all those like romantic comedies. So he had a lot of good dramatic chops in this film, and I really like his performance. And then I know I'm going to butcher this name, but Benjamin Hunso, who was also in Gladiator a couple years after this film, he's also really good too. He is a really, really good actor, especially in this film. So it's a very well-acted film, and also the filmmaking is incredible. The cinematographer, Kaminsky, who works all the time with Spielberg, he delivers yet another incredible-looking film, and the camera work is perfect, honestly. One thing I will say, though, just as a caveat, is that the first 5 minutes of this film, it's not going to be for everyone because it's like seizure inducing, man. It's just like flashing images, and I'm just like, holy cow, this is like a lot to take in. It's very well done for sure, but I can see some people being like, what the heck, like what's going on? It's like that's kind of the point. Because what's going on is violent acts are occurring, and as that's occurring, there's a lightning storm as well. So it makes it kind of difficult to tell what's going on, but again, that's kind of the point. So Kaminski's cinematography is great in this film, and it's why he got nominated for an Oscar for it. But the other thing I wanted to mention is John Williams' score. Per usual, he again also works for Steven Spielberg. He delivers yet another great score that works so well with the images that are on screen. The sound mixing is also really good. And one of the other things I wanted to, going back to the cinematography, is that this time around I noticed that with the cinematography, especially in the water, the scenes are emulating, like the camera work is emulating the feeling of being on a boat and everything. And I think it does such a great job of that, where it's like, going up and down and almost makes you like seasick. And I'm like, this is brilliant stuff. But yeah, going back to the sound design, I think that it's really good stuff with what you hear. Like you have a really good audio experience and good visual experience. One thing I will say, though, is that for some people, they might look at the runtime, which is 155 minutes. They might say, is it warranted? And I'm here to say that I think it is, but there is a point where I believe it's like an hour and 45 minutes in, there's something that happens and you're like, okay, so there's probably like 5 more minutes, and then you pause it and you're like, oh my goodness, there's still over half an hour left. What the heck? And it's like, that was my only real gripe with this movie. But then when you see the rest of the half hour play out, you're like, okay, I understand why that occurred. And honestly, I had the same gripe with Lincoln. One of the first times I saw Lincoln, over a decade ago, was that Lincoln had it where, spoiler alert, when the 13th Amendment is passed, you think that that's the crescendo, and it's like, okay, so the movie's over, and it's like, no, there's still like 20 more minutes left. And I don't have that issue now with Lincoln, so I'm just kind of thinking in my mind, I'm like, maybe that's something that when I rewatch Amistad like a third time down the line, it probably won't be an issue. But as a second view and all these years later, I'm like, yeah, that's something that's still kind of like pacing wise. It's kind of like trying to get viewers to be on board with this length. That's going to be something that might be an issue for some people. But I definitely think it's worth watching. I think that it's a film that's very enlightening. It's very engaging. It's Steven Spielberg, and he's one of the best directors working, in my personal opinion. But yeah, it's a very engaging film. It's a film that will definitely make you think, which is something that I think is really good. And it's also a film that, I mean, it's shot on film, so it's like you can't help but be engrossed with the way that, Kaminsky shoots everything. And I would definitely recommend this film. Amistad definitely comes highly recommended, and I personally will be giving it a. But yeah, guys, those are my thoughts on Amistad, spoiler free, of course. If you've seen it, let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. I know it's pretty underrated these days, unfortunately, and underseen, which is a shame, but I definitely think that it should be seen. So, guys, let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below if you've seen it. And again, I'm very curious to hear your thoughts. And as always, guys, don't forget the subscription, notification bell, follow my Letterboxd, and I will catch you guys later.